Hi, this video is about the passive stealth lead system product for Digital Assassin Dojo. My name is David Hood. I'm the creator of this product. And in this video, I'm going to talk about kind of what it's all about, what the intent is, and exactly what you'll get with this product. The core concept is that help you navigate your way to passive income via SEO local lead generation. I'm very serious with this product. I do try to, create some levity here and there and have fun and smile, but at the same time, I want to emphasize how serious I'll take your investment should you buy this system. And first of all, I am giving you essentially what a 1 year commitment, and that 1 year commitment is basically sharing anything that I find over the next year from when you buy it. Now, I wanted it to be long enough to where it wasn't like, well, if I learn something new next month, I'm not going to share it with you. And I'll probably go, a little bit beyond the 1 year commitment if that's, really what it takes. But I also didn't want to, contact me 10 years later and be like, well, what are you doing on this? You owe it to me. So there's some balance there, but I'm taking it very seriously, and I'll essentially be working for you as a member of your team for the next year after you get in. I am going to make, there's mistakes that I've made, and that's fine. I'm not, please don't ever think that I think that I'm perfect. And I make mistakes and I document those. And so I can tell you, okay, I did this and it didn't work. I did this and it did work. I think having both of those is useful. You definitely want I did this and it did work. If someone is just making mistakes over and over again and not actually doing some things that are positive, then that's not necessarily, maybe there's some other systematic issue there. Anyway, I digress. I've spent well over 100 hours like preparing for this, setting it up, doing the video content creation, and I'll spend many more hours for you working on this and supporting the people that are in there. I want you to be able to utilize my testing and my mistakes so that you can get there faster. I wish I had this when I got started. I really did. I think that I would have been able to grow much more quickly if I had this. I do think it's important to address the difference between like passive income and active income. So first, let me define passive and active. I don't think this is like a 0 or 1. It's not like something is all active or all passive. Well, some things are all active. So working at McDonald's is like an all active. I also do client SEO. That's not all active, but it is heavily active. I still like client SEO. Don't get me wrong. I think client SEO is a great model. It's very useful. I think it'll be around for just basically forever. But it's more active. You can outsource certain things, but there's still going to be certain active stuff. Even if you say, well, I'm just going to hire people to do it. Well, then you're running an agency and you have to manage those people. So, but this system is highly passive. And by that, I would say that it's like 80 to 90% passive. And that doesn't include like the building. So when you're building, that doesn't count like as passive versus active. But once you start making the money, there's not as much maintenance. There can be maintenance, and maybe there's some circumstances where you have to jump in and you have to do more work. And there's other circumstances where you don't really need to do anything. There have been like whole months where I've done almost nothing. Maybe I probably would have made more had I jumped in there a little bit more. Let's see. For lead generation, Google has made the Google My Business pages more prominent, and I wanted to emphasize that because this course does utilize those Google My Business. This system utilizes those Google My Business pages heavily. They're very important to this, and the trend that it used to be, there's if you compare to when Google My Business pages came out, I want to say 5-ish years ago. Don't hold me to that exact number, but they've slowly made them more and more prominent, and they're just continuing to go that way. And so I don't think that the kind of the core fundamentals of utilizing the Google My Business pages are going to go away. And if they do go away, well, then we'll just have websites, and the websites will still rank as well, and the websites do rank. So it's not just about the Google My Business pages, but it's a critical factor right now. And so we'll definitely be going into that. I did want to contrast like the value of this versus and the value in the costs. Getting a college education, I'm fairly certain I spent well over 6 figures for my college education. And in this, and also opening a franchise business, it costs $1 million to open a McDonald's franchise business. In a way, this is almost like a franchise business. It's definitely not a franchise business for legal purposes. I can't say that, and I wouldn't say that. But in that, like, a franchise business gives like a training system, and they give you kind of like all the steps, basically all the main areas, and they provide support. and they've tested things before, and so in that way, it's kind of like a franchise business without costing nearly as much. If you don't know much about me, I was an engineer. I have a degree in engineering, but I felt like I was getting dumber every year, and so I did end up quitting my job. And what really got me to where I could make a full-time income and support my family was client SEO. I have a website called the Dallas SEO Geek that's ranking for like Dallas SEO related searches. I still do client SEO. I still like client SEO. I still think it's a critical part of my business, and I don't have no plans to quit that at any point in time. But at the same time, it's very useful to have some sort of passive income just in case, because clients do kind of come and go, and sometimes random things go against you, and also this just makes it a lot easier to say no to clients that are throwing off signals that they're going to be a bad client, and just be like, you know what, I just don't think this is going to be a fit. As opposed to, if you don't have any of that, if you have a bunch of this passive income, then it just, your positioning just is better. And I think they smell that, and I think in the end, you can ask for more, and you'll end up doing better with client SEO by having this in your wheelhouse as well. Not only that, but there's some pieces of this that are relevant to client and local SEO. So I have mentioned like how fast I got there, and some other marketing, and I mentioned it incorrectly. I said it took me 18 months, but really, basically from August to August, I went from, this is not accurate because this is actually all I was making in the previous 6, 7, 8 months. So I guess it's really 8 months, so it's less than $100 a month. I didn't. It was so low that I wasn't even asking to get paid, and then I was like, oh wait, I guess they owe me $500, and and I went and I made over $6,000 in August of 2018. So in about 1 year, and this is with making mistakes, this is with testing, this is with having issues that at first I couldn't overcome, that I'm going to help you overcome and make sure to give you plenty of options so that you don't have like roadblocks that stop you for any extended period of time. I went from basically less than $100 a month to $6,000 a month in passive income. Okay, and again, if I knew what I know today, I feel pretty confident that this could be at, I'd be probably at like about $20,000 to $30,000 per month right now after about 18 months. And I think that is very possible and reasonable. And that's not with like me like spending all day every day on this. Okay. Now there is work again in building it, and also building the systems. And a lot of the systems I built for you that you can kind of take advantage of my notes in a way. And I'm going to talk about that more when I talk about exactly what you get. But it's also, there's going to be some steps in you understanding it and then passing it off to outsourcers. Some parts of it, I don't know if you'd want to pass off like the whole business model to an outsourcer, but like individual pieces that you can kind of manage them at. And especially if you have a good someone that you trust, and that not so much trust with your private information, but trust with like doing a job, actually continuing to work on it is going to be important. But also, again, this is passive income, and again, I don't want to make you think that you set this up, and then if I did nothing for like the next year, that it would still 100% be there. I mean, I think that there's a very good chance that it would still, like if I did nothing for the next year, I would still be making a good amount of money at the end of that year, but there might be some issues that I if I just done a little bit of work to address, to kind of tweak things, to kind of put some oil, change the oil in the car, in the vehicle, so to speak, that would be helpful. Okay, but it's mostly passive. It's very, very passive. So it's very high on the passive scale, to put it that way. I won't claim to be perfect. I think this is an important point that I really wanted to make. And part of it is that I want to, let's draw a picture here. Okay, so hopefully you can see this pretty well, but like there's many different paths to kind of this SEO lead generation. And I think I've taken a little bit of a different path than most people take. Okay, and so let's say I take this green path and there's money at the end of this tunnel. There's money at the end of this tunnel, and there's money at the end of this tunnel. I think most people are taking sort of like, let's say this path, and it's just kind of like picking one at random. And other people are kind of taking this path. There's some things that are maybe similar or close to the same, but in the end, they can all lead to money. So I won't claim to know everything that there is to know about this path or even this path. Everything I know, like I know every little piece of everything. For example, there's a ton of tricks on ranking Google My Business pages. I know some of them. I don't know all of them. But I know enough to make money, to make good money, and to be able to continue to grow in a scalable way. So you know, I think I want you to prepare you for, sometimes you might be like, oh, well, David, you didn't, you know, maybe you didn't mention this specific thing, and you're free to ask about that. And maybe and then my response is maybe, well, you know, I don't really, you know, I really don't focus on that. And you might have to be like, wait, what? You don't do a bunch of tricks with your Google My Business pages or something? Okay, well, maybe I do some tricks, but I don't do all of the tricks. And it's not just about that. It's about finding a path that works for you. And, you know, I think that you could, even though with learning about my path, maybe this path works even better for you. So, you know, it's not like you have to take my exact path, but you can. You know, I've tried and tested some unique and semi-unique things, and you know, and some non-unique things that have turned into unique experiences. So I definitely think that there's quite a bit of uniqueness in this product. Certainly, there's going to be some overlap with what other people say. It's unavoidable, but at the same time, I'll have a different perspective. I'll be there to support you. You know that I'll be reliable. And you know, obviously, I'm not going to like do everything for you, and you know, I'm not going to give you my cell phone number to call me in the middle of the night, but you know, there's going to be a group and a community to find support, and I am genuinely interested in making money off this product, but I'm also genuinely interested in having people make their money and get extreme value out of it and be very happy with their results, that they got a really good return. Okay, so here's where we get into like what is the product. So it's really centered around like there's training. There's a core set of training, which involves like videos and texts, lists and links. I would say videos are kind of the core of the product and the training. A lot of the stuff is sort of over the shoulder, but also, you know, the way that I talk about things, I think I can emphasize things more important in specific ways where video is very useful, as opposed to just like typing up text. And some of the nuance is oftentimes a bit more difficult with. So I want to emphasize that everything that I put in this course is based upon my own experience. I don't ever take something that's like, oh, some guy told me that it worked, and I don't actually test it myself, and then I give it to you. Now, maybe I'll mention that kind of to the side that, hey, this is something that other people are doing, but I'll also say, you know, I haven't really, you know, I'm not going to show you how to do it. I'm not going to say I've done it, and then when I haven't done it. That's very important, and that's part of why I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to know everything about everything. And so you know, if you're like, hey, this other guy's talking about this, why aren't you talking about this? Well, maybe I don't know it, and that's fine. You don't need to know it. Maybe I should know it. So don't feel free to tell me about that, and maybe I'll test it and I'll include it, but only after testing. This is all based upon actual, real experience. I really want to emphasize that. So in this, you'll get on page and off page. You'll get process documentation, which is sort of an engineering term, which is sort of like outlines and templates and checklists that I use, which I think is very useful, that I've built and I grow over time. And I want to emphasize this. This is super important. There's really no secret kept. The exception would be like my real brand, so I'm not going to share with you like all my money sites, right? I'm not going to share with you my passwords to my, you know, to my cPanels and stuff like that. And there is going to be a little bit of an exception to this, which I'll talk about in a second. You know, these are any testing results if relevant. I am testing whole new sections that I'm not even advertising right now at the time that I'm making this video. And if they work, then I'll put them in there. If it's relevant to this business model, then it will be included in this course for the time frame for 1 year beyond when you buy it. And I want to emphasize also, a lot of people might be like, well, why are you selling this? If this really works, why don't you just keep doing more and more of it? Well, first of all, there's sort of this philosophy of study, practice, teach. I think it comes from Jim Rohn, where it's basically, you know, and this is how to be like kind of fulfilled. Helping other people. I really do want to help people. I do want to make money and amplify. The money and the work that I put into this is amplified by selling something like this, okay? But it doesn't, also people think, well, doesn't it hurt you? Aren't you going to make a lot of competition? And sort of yes, sort of no. I'd say that there's so much of a market here that even if I were to sell 10,000 of these, I think that, you know, it's probably not going to affect these rankings, this money that much, if at all. And even in the like crazy case where you ended up competing directly with me for all of my properties, I still win. So my income goes down a little bit, but now you're making money, and you hopefully, ideally, you would come back and say, hey, David's, you know, I'm making a lot of money off of what David said, and so I sell more of this product. So I kind of win either way. I really mean it when I say that I'm not going to keep any secrets that are relevant to this, other than private information. That's the one kind of like boundary where I would, you know, kind of draw the line for specific things. But if there's a technique that I've learned, I've used, and I've tested, and it works, and it's relevant to this model, I will teach you. I will put it in here, and it's for you to use. Okay, so one of the critical pieces, I see a lot of, I see a lot of people talking about kind of like lead generation, and they don't really talk about how to verify Google My Business pages. And that's, I'm not knocking that, I'm not saying they're bad people, but I think it's a critical piece of this puzzle. And so, and this is one of the stopping points I had. I had a verification method that worked really well, and then it kind of stopped working, and I kind of fumbled for a little bit. I had some other plays that worked, but I didn't really want to do them, and so I just kind of like, you just kind of kept, I tried to work on other things. I did some more link building and stuff like that, but I also was like, okay, I really want to go out and I want to learn and test a bunch of different ways to do Google My Business verifications. And I ended up finding several different ways. And so there's more than one Google My Business verification method in here. And some of them are kind of overlap, so I hesitate to give like an exact number, but it's enough to where you'll have options. And I'm testing one method right now that I think will work. I'm pretty confident will work. It's free, but it's quite a bit of work. And then all the way on the scale of some that are not free and little work. And there's some in between where it's kind of cheap, but it's not like super cheap. But it's a little bit more work. And so, you know, I'll give you several options for that. I think that's critical, you know, to being able to run this model, is to be able to get reliable, verified Google My Business pages. And I'll be adding more stuff based upon the questions that I get. I'll be adding content. So what does it look like to be in there? Took some screenshots. I didn't want to show it live because there is some stuff that I don't want people to see, and I'm not good at like blurring stuff out yet. Okay, so this is kind of what the back end looks like when you jump in. So, you know, so each one of these sections has at least one video. And some of them have 2, 3, 4 videos or some other text in there. So you can kind of see just sort of like getting started information, some expectations, some like organization, process, documentation. This is a big strength of mine, and I think it's really, really important to this business model to be highly, highly organized. And so I talk about that in there. Some resources and tools, like choosing niche keyword research, your brands. It's kind of like picking out your brands is super important. You can see I've kind of blocked out a few of the lessons. The Google My Business section is very long. It's got the most details in it. It's super important. Some Google My Business verification methods. I'm not going to read all of these, but several things blocked out. A whole section blocked out that I didn't want to mention in this video. Turning the leads into money. Link building. It's kind of overlapped so that you can see kind of where it continues, because I couldn't do it all in one screenshot. And so I would say that there's on the order of about 50 videos in there right now, and it'll be somewhere on the order of 50 to 60 videos total when it's all said and done. It's not an exact number. I have shot about 40 new videos, and then some of them is content that I created within the last year that I'll also be including in here. But there's a bunch of new content in here, and so this is kind of what it'll look like when you're inside. Okay, it does come with coaching. There is a secret Facebook group, and I will do approximately monthly webinars if people say, and so that you'll be able to get live help. And in the Facebook group, you'll also be able to ask questions. One-on-one, so there is coaching, and so I consider this to be full coaching, but at the same time, it's primarily group coaching. So, if you send me a question about like the specific thing, like through a message or something, I'm generally intend on answering it. Now, if you're like, hey, I don't know, can you look at my whole site? Can you analyze my whole site and tell me what you think? That's not really very useful, unless you do it in sort of a group fashion, like on a webinar or in a Facebook post where everyone can get value out of it. Otherwise, you're kind of asking me to do your work for you, which is not what I'm offering. I'm not offering to do like all of your work for you. I'm offering to do sort of like testing for you, essentially testing and planning and information in a way. But again, if you're working the system and you get stuck at a specific point and you're like, hey, I tried to do this and this didn't work, and it's kind of your private information, that is something that I will help you out with, right? It's a very specific question. You've tried to work stuff. You're not like just like I don't know where to get started. okay, well, here, it's not like I'm going to be rude to you. So, I don't want you to worry, like not ask a question because you're like, wait, does this fall under it or not? Because if it doesn't fall, if it's two one-on-one, I'll let you know. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be rude, but I'll let you know. Okay. But basically, I'm going to be your guide along the way, and I'm very incentivized in helping you succeed. And there'll also be, I think we'll create a community here of what I call stealth assassins. I like the stealth assassins community. There are other people in that might also, when you ask it, and especially this would be kind of like the primary place to ask it, this or here, because especially here, because sometimes like somebody else might be able to answer it for you quicker than I could. And so that's important. Okay, so there is a one-time offer I'm calling my hyperspeed upgrade. All right, and this is where the exception to the private info. I'm going to give some extra private info to help get started quicker, or to really understand what I'm doing at a deeper level faster. So I'm going to give my exact niche earnings data. I'm going to show 4 real lead gen brands that I've built over the last year or so. So what exactly have I done? And these are not perfect, so you can see some of the imperfections. And I'm going to go over all the exact steps that I did for them. All right, so that is one of the things you're going to get. There's also going to be a new over-the-shoulder series as the course starts, where I go in and I do a whole new site from scratch, and so you can see that and you can ask questions as it goes along. I'm also going to, I think one of the people's, in this, also you'll be able to see sort of like my niche selection process, which I think will be useful to people. Also, there will be sales partner recordings. I've got one or two that I've already got in the bank, but I'm going to do some more very shortly. I'm shooting this on January 21st, 2019. Within the next week or two, I will be making some calls and recording those calls on exactly what I say when I call people up, and also recording sort of like, okay, well, here's the leads that I'm generating. Here's how I find the people. Here's how I do all those steps, so you can get some extra help in that area. And I didn't want, this is intentionally like kind of, I wanted less people to be in this because the more people that see these lead gen brands, the less useful they become, because I'd like to think that all the people that come in here are good people, but at some point maybe there's somebody who's just kind of a jerk, and for whatever reason they don't like me, and these sites might eventually go down. But I'd like to think by having it as this upgrade one-time offer that is not like needed, but yet still very helpful and kind of helps you get started faster, is going to be really useful for people to start. And eventually, if a year from now these don't work, I'm not gonna be like heartbroken over it. So. Okay, that is what I have. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions, especially in the Operation Day Job Assassination Facebook group. That's going to be a great place to ask questions, and you'll probably see other people already asking the same questions, and you can maybe already get your answers without having to type anything. So thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, have a bye.